Tim Petrovich of the Daily Republican here with Marion head football coach Kerry Martin. It's time for the second season, Coach. The regular season is over. Playoffs start this weekend, and unfortunately, I guess we do have to touch on last week's game. Wildcats came up short in their bid for an undefeated regular season with a 20-12 loss at Heron. Talk about that game a little bit. You said, and I think we both agreed, it seemed like that the team was just kind of in some sort of a funk, or really kind of not really in a good rhythm Friday night.
Yeah, first we'll give credit to Heron for playing an outstanding football game. And they just no turnovers, very few penalties. They played aggressive, they played hard, and I think they played a little hungrier than us. And I don't think we had a decent week of preparation. We had no indications we were a little flat or a little out of sync prior to the game. But what come game time, at times I didn't recognize our team on the field. I really didn't. And we've had a wonderful season. Prior to that we had eight big wins, and for whatever reason on Friday, and it happens in every sport. On some given night, you just don't have it, and we didn't have it, and it's unfortunate for us and for our program that we didn't have it on a very big night. But we've won some big games this year. We won some games at big times to win the conference championship, but I was hoping we had another big one in us for history, but didn't get it. But now we've got to learn from that ball game and hopefully get refocused and come back and start the second season.
The timing of that, you never want to lose, and I would tend to disagree with the fact that a loss is good in the grand scheme of things. But at the same time, the timing of finding a clunker like that game in the regular season as opposed to the playoffs, there's got to be some benefit there.
Well, I know this, that individual players, coaches, tend to evaluate more after a loss. You tend to ask yourself more questions after a loss than you do after a win. And I think we've asked ourselves some serious questions about what happened, why it happened, and were there indications that we could have seen earlier. And I think the players have asked themselves that. And you learn from it. You don't like it. You don't want to have to. You hope you learn from maybe a close win, maybe a game you don't play well, but you win it anyway. Unfortunately for us, we didn't win the ball game. We did lose, and we've asked ourselves some tough questions this week. And I think we've shown some improvement already in the way we've approached this coming week, and the players seem very much refocused again, like I've not seen them in a while. So it's a good sign, and hopefully we can take something bad and make something good out of it.
You play Triad in the first round of the playoffs. It's a home game this coming Saturday.
Right.
Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. I know historically Marion's preferred to play on Friday night or Saturday night. Reasoning behind the Saturday afternoon game?
Well, there needs to be some agreement to play a night game. I think they preferred an afternoon game because of travel and so forth. At one time it seemed like the home team could set the start time, and the visiting team kind of had to agree with it. That ruling is different now, and the IHSA can come in and kind of, I think, moderate that a little bit and change it to some type of compromise. So we probably knew we weren't going to get a late game anyway. Second thing is, we've ran into conflicts in the past on this particular weekend with Halloween, and we've had a lot of parents and people talk about the conflict of trick-or-treating with their kids or coming to the game, and they hated to have to make a choice. And with so many area communities trick-or-treating on Saturday night, the 30th, we felt, why put people in that situation? We wanted to be able to come to the game and at the same time be with their families on that night. So just a lot of different factors came into it, and we chose an afternoon ball game. We played well in the afternoon before, played several playoff games in the afternoon, and had pretty good success in doing it. So there were a lot of things that went into it. We're happy with the start time. I think they are too, and most everyone I've spoken to so far has said there's no conflicts. We'll have a good crowd.
Talk about this Triad Knights team. They won 4 games in a row to close the season after being 2-3. They've played some good football here of late, and they seem to have really come into their own.
They have, and they've played some good teams late and won. They're a very well-coached football team, very disciplined, very technique sound. They've got a good running game. They don't throw it much. They have a good running game. I have a 1,000-yard rusher in the backfield. They very physical team, a team that we're going to have to match up with our offensive line, which I think we can. And it's a ball game. I think we're going to need to bring a little more balance to the table. And I think we plan on doing that. We plan on balancing things out a little more and putting a little more motion in the game and putting a little more passing in the game with some play action stuff and making them defend the entire field. You know, we've been able to several times this year line up and take it to people and get wins. And this time of year, you know, you work your passing game all summer, you do it in the fall for moments like this, for ball games like this in the postseason. I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to spread the field some and go to our change of pace offense and really try to keep them off balance as best we can.
Chad Hayden is their 1,000-yard rusher, 1,065 yards, but as I'm doing the math on their stats, they've run for almost 2,900 yards. They've actually run for more yards than the Wildcats have, considering Marion's backfield and how good it is. So we know that Triad is a very powerful running team.
They are. I don't know what their passing yardage is, but it wasn't much. I think they've completed 33 passes all year, and fortunately for us, Brett Bradley is close to 1,000 yards passing, I believe. He's getting near that mark, so that's a good sign. So yeah, they're going to bring a great rushing game to the table. I think it's very important if we can get out to a lead, force them to try to play catch up with their run game. But you know, saying that's one thing, doing it's another. I think we need to execute, click on all cylinders. We've got to play good defense and get some stops. And offensively, we've got to put points on the board. The 12-point output on Friday was unacceptable, and we need to do a better job of scoring. The field goals by Sean Nurnberger were great, but there are some of those situations you've got to get touchdowns, not field goals. And he's a great weapon to have, you know, wonderful part of our program, and he's going to help win us ball games, I'm sure, down the road, if not this week or next week. But there are times where field goals are great, but touchdowns are necessary to win playoff games.
Trying to find some silver linings out of Friday night and trying to use something to propel into the postseason. With Shaquille and Torn both being hurt, you really got some nice play out of Cedric Neal. And we've not talked a whole lot about Cedric,
right,
but it seemed like Cedric took his game to the next level Friday.
He did at a key time in the ball game with some injuries and so forth. As you said, you know, losing Shaq and Torn at the same time in the game was a pretty big deal for us. And to have Cedric come in the game, for Henry to continue running well and to bring Cedric in to give us a counterpunch was pretty important. This is a young man that's not played a lot. He's had some very key touches for us, but not a lot of them. And I'm optimistic that he is going to be a big part of our offensive scheme next year. He is a very fast player. I often tell him that when I watch game film, sometimes he looks like the fastest player on the field. And he just continues to get better, and he's gotten better in practice. He's continued to keep his chin up and work hard. And I'm like you, I'm real proud of the effort we got from him.
Offensively, with Shaq and Torrin, what's their situation? I know early in the week we talked, we were kind of optimistic that it looked like they'd be in pretty good shape by Saturday.
I'm sure they'll play. I'm optimistic they're going to be at or close to 100%. Where they're at for sure, I don't know. You know, they're both getting treatment. They're going to sit out quite a bit this week and go through the mental stuff and come out. But you know, we're not going to do a lot with them until probably later in the week in practice. Neither injury is the type of injury that's going to keep them from playing Saturday. Each day they get a lot better. So we're optimistic they're going to be close to 100% on Saturday. And that's good news.
Let's talk defensively, and you really kind of struggled a little bit with Heron's triple option. You know, with the quarterback Antoine Davis running the ball, DeMarlo Harris always gives people fits, but it seemed like you had a hard time picking up who had the ball.
Yeah, well, we have to give a lot of credit to our defense. You know, our defense, our offense did not put them in some good situations. And you know, the 90-yard drive is the one we wish we had back. They drove it 90 yards for a score, but offensively, we kept our defense on the field too much. I think at times, you know, we had a defense that at times played very, very well, but they made some key plays at key moments to continue drives. And on offense, we didn't do that. You know, I felt like there were some pass plays we didn't complete, some throws we didn't make, some blocks we didn't get at crucial times. And I felt like Heron at crucial times did that. They got those key conversions, and they got the big play in the ball game. And if you look back at that film, offensively, we make almost zero big plays in the game. We've been a big play team all year, and you won't find us making a big play on offense in that film. We put together a good drive for one score. Sean kicked the 2 field goals for the other scores, but we've got to make some big plays. We've got to make some catches, get some long runs, be that explosive team that we've been the first 8 games of the year. And credit goes to Heron for the big plays, and we didn't do it.
Last time you played Triad was in 2006. You scored with 14 seconds left in the game to win 21-17. You'd probably rather be in a little more control and not have to score with 14 seconds left.
That's what it takes. I'll take it. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, you wish or you hope, but I have so much respect for these playoff teams, and it doesn't matter who you draw. You can look at records and you can compare conferences. Everybody that gets in the Illinois system is a quality football team. I've never put a playoff film in and said, oh my gosh, we got an easy game. You know, this is a game about matchups. It's a game about who's peaking at the right time. It's a game about, you know, who's going to make big plays, who's healthy right now, and all this stuff goes into the mix. And you know, how are teams going to handle how they played late in the year? And for us, how are we going to refocus? So I'm hoping that we get a win. I'm optimistic that we can. I think we're going to play a very good ball game on Saturday. But last time they came here, we had a great ball game, which we were watching when we first came in today. And it is a great high school football game. One of the best I've been associated with. 2 good football teams at our place on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. It was a special day, and fortunately we came out on top.
Coach, good luck on Saturday. We'll see you here Saturday afternoon, and
sounds good.
Look forward to keep doing this for a few more weeks.
I hope so. Thanks.
Kerry Martin, head coach of the Marion Wildcats for the Daily Republican. I'm Tim Petrovich.